Hey, welcome back to Blanchy Talks Watches. Today we're going to be doing the full review of the Ovlo Manston. I've got the unboxing of this up. I'll link it in the description if you want to check out that. So it's the unboxing and first impressions. So this is another Kickstarter watch. It's going to be launching this month. Not sure the exact date, but I think it's going to be in the coming weeks anyway. This is a new brand based out of the UK. They're in England, where they've done all of their design work. Most of the watch, as far as I know, is totally designed from scratch. So there's a lot of touches on this that you don't see on other watches, so it's definitely not a cookie cutter watch, which is nice to see from a new brand doing something a little bit different. Speaking of a new brand, this is their first watch. They have 4 colorways. This obviously is the black. They have a blue, a white, and then a cream as well. I'll put a picture up so you can see what they're like. Okay, so quick wrist check. I am wearing my Vostok Luna Dude. This is the DIY version. Still haven't done a full review of this, but I have the build video up. I'll link in the description. If you want me to do a full review, let me know in the comments and I can do that at some point. Okay, back to the watch at hand. We'll start off by going through the specs and the size. Get my trusty calipers there. We'll start with the lug width is 22. The lug length 52. The diameter quite large at 45. The crown is 7mm, and then the thickness, including the crystal, is just shy of 13. So this does have quite big dimensions, but it doesn't wear overly large. I think the design is quite refined. One thing I do find a bit frustrating on this watch is the reflection. As you can see, it is reflecting off everything. I'm kind of struggling to film this review with the amount of reflections. Now that is massively exaggerated with the setup I have here with the studio lights. It's not as bad in person. It can be a bit frustrating when you're trying to take a nice picture of it. So it could do it a bit more to reflective coating. There is some on it, but clearly it could do it a little bit more. The Miyota 9015 with the side roller as well, which is a nice touch. I love seeing brands just putting their own little touch on the movement. Obviously you've got the display back. It's water resistant, 100 meters, stainless steel case, designed in Britain, and this is a prototype, so it's 000 out of 000. The crown then is engraved with a deep engraving just of the V, which is the V from their logo. The dial then, while it's quite plain, it does have a date function. Just move that out of the way so you can see it. Yeah, so it has the date function there at the 3, obviously with the 9015 movement. As I was saying, the dial, it's quite plain, and it is quite a large face watch. I thought I'd find it too plain, but to be honest, I kind of really like the balance of it. I think they've got a really nice layout with the 12, 3, 6, 9. I've said it before, I'm not a huge fan of dates, but I do think this one is put in quite well with the black date ring. It looks like the date is just floating there on the dial, which is nice. You can't really pick up where the dial stops and the date wheel begins, so that is nice. I like the minute and seconds track around the outside, the smaller numbers, and then obviously your logo at 12, Ovlo, and then Manston automatic at the 6 o'clock position. It's slightly unbalanced, having nothing at the 9, but as I said, I do like the overall look of it. Got a high polished bezel ring on it, on the top of the lugs, and a nice vertical brushing on the sides. Actually shows it very well there, the contrast between the high polish, and the brush is beautiful. Yeah, look at that brush. It is perfect with the vertical lines. Yeah, the contrast is very nice between the polished and the brushed. The strap then, genuine leather. It's embossed with the Ovlo logo. Genuine leather there, and it's got the 2-prong buckle, which, well, nothing too crazy, you don't see very often, so it is nice to see that. It adds a bit more detail as well to the long side of the strap, just having the extra holes, and I think it fits the overall size of the watch to have something that's, it's still elegant. It's not a big beefy like Panari style buckle, but it does have a bit more presence to go with the size. Okay, so we'll try it on and see what it looks like. So being 45mm, this would be definitely up with the larger size for my wrist. My wrist is 7¼ inches. Said it plenty of times, I think my sweet spot is 42mm, but I have to say I was pleasantly surprised by this one. I expected it to be too big, but I think it sits quite nicely. Side profile is nice, 13mm, not too big. It suits the size of the case, of the diameter even. Too thin and it might look a bit dainty, but yeah, like that's perfect on my wrist. It's not overhanging top or bottom, maybe very slightly, but overall it fits quite well. It's nice and comfortable. I was slightly concerned with the buckle. I thought it might dig in a bit, but it doesn't. I didn't notice it at all while I was wearing it for the week or so. I've had this on and off with a lot of different review ones in again at the minute, so I'm trying all sorts, and yeah, it's definitely winning space for wrist time at the minute. It's nice and comfortable. The strap is it's quite thick, but it is soft and comfortable. So yeah, I think in a market that's definitely leaning more towards smaller watches, it's nice to see a new contender coming out with a big watch. And it is, while it is big, it's not too flashy, and it's not massively big. I think you could easily wear this as an oversized watch if you had a smaller wrist, or even a lady's wrist. You could wear it like a kind of an oversized statement piece. But for myself, with 42mm, my preferred size, I'd happily wear this at 45. And look, I'm a big guy, I'm 6'4", I can absolutely pull off a watch this size. And I think I'd have no problem wearing this under a shirt as well as casual wear. Okay, so we will have a look at the Lume. So again, I'm just going to move the hands so we can actually see the Lume, because there's no point hiding. Okay, I'll turn off the lights now and we'll see, or we won't see. Right, so this has been inside for a couple of days. It hasn't seen any natural light, so what I'll do is I'll give it a blast on my UV torch. Just a quick blast. The UV torch activates the Lume very quickly and very strongly. So there you have it. To be honest, I normally, if I know the Lume isn't going to be good, I wouldn't just turn off the lights and hope for the best, but the Lume is good on this, so I was kind of caught off guard by that, because it has just been in a drawer for the past few days, so it obviously just lost all of its charge, and I only pulled it out just before this review. So this is an accurate representation of what the Lume actually looks like. Slightly brighter in person than it's showing up on the camera, but it is quite strong. So you can see there the indices are all lumed, and then the hour and the minute hands also quite legible. That's one thing I found with this, it's very, very legible. The minimalistic dial and the large hands just make it very legible at night, so that is nice. The Lume could be stronger, but it is legible for hours through the night. It doesn't need to be any stronger. You can see it fading there now, but again, it was only a very quick blast. But yeah, it doesn't need to be brighter. It does the job. You can read it all night. It's not a dive watch. It doesn't need to light up the room. I'm always a massive fan of Lume, so the brighter the better in my books. but this is definitely acceptable, and it's good enough to read it at night, so that's all you really want. If you're looking for party piece Lume, maybe look at a Zealous or something else, but this absolutely does what it needs to do on a dress watch like this. Okay, light back on so we can have a chat about it again. So pricing on this, I don't actually know. I haven't seen the Kickstarter prices yet. I believe it's retail somewhere in the £300 to £350 mark at full retail. There will be early bird specials on the Kickstarter as always. So if you are interested, make sure you get on Kickstarter when it launches and grab one of the early bird ones, because I'm sure there'll be deals to be had. Fit and finish on this, quite nice. I haven't had any issues at all other than the reflection. It just bothers me a little bit, but it bothers me from a reviewer point of view rather than from a watch collector point of view, if that makes sense. I sometimes need to remind myself things on watches that are annoying me are only because of the hobby, not the collection. So yeah, that's one thing that just, it gets to me a little bit, because it can be very frustrating when I'm trying to do videos, and I mean, you can see, like, look, it's just reflecting like crazy, but day to day that's not the biggest issue, unless you spend hours and hours taking loads of pictures of your watches, which many of us do. But yeah, look, it's a small price to pay. Yeah, I don't think I mentioned actually the slight dome on the crystal as well is nice. You get a bit of that distortion as it goes. Overall, it's a very strong first offering from Ovlo. Negatives, I mean, it's the reflection, the 45mm size. I think they've pulled it off very well. I think it'll be a tough size for some people to buy, because I know a lot of people have hard cut-offs. I think if it was a 42, maybe even 38 or a 40mm, could appeal to a bigger market. But personally, I hope people start wearing bigger watches again. I'm not a fan of the trends towards 36mm. I think that needs to stop. People need to start wearing decent sized watches again, because 36mm is just too small for most people. So I think this is definitely on the right trend of trying to get nice big sized watches back out there. But yeah, I hope it does get through the Kickstarter, because it's a lovely watch. I can't fault the fit and finish at all. It's very well presented, very nice to wear, very comfortable. Especially for 45mm, to be this comfortable at that size is impressive. And yeah, it gets the thumbs up from me. I think you could pair with a lot of different straps as well, especially the other colours too. The other colours come with different straps that are coordinated to the dial colour, which is nice, rather than them all just coming on the one strap option. I'd love to see a bracelet option on this. It's not currently an option, but I think it could look quite nice in the Beads of Rice bracelet maybe. Yeah, that's it. It's a thumbs up for me. It's not a brand I was aware of. They reached out to me. I think it was the Watch Junkie Watch Reviews had recommended my channel, so thanks again, Alan, for that. Yeah, pleasantly surprised. I saw the pictures and I liked it. Definitely wanted to get it into the channel for review, and yeah, it didn't disappoint. I'm quite impressed with this one, and I wish them all the best with the Kickstarter campaign. I really hope it does succeed, and looking forward to seeing what they come out with in the future. So look, I'm going to leave it there for tonight. Let me know what you think in the comments. Would you be brave enough to wear a 45mm, or do you think it's just too big for you? Yeah. Anyway, please do like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.